have to call my mom now. Do you guys know where the nearest payphone's at? No? Does anybody know where the nearest payphone's at?
They're non-existent.
Well, back then, we had these things called pagers. So I have one right here. And this is the only form of communication anybody had. And now, most of you guys just unlock your cell phone and text right away, go on social media. But back then, this was the only way you were able to communicate with anybody. So, in my speech, I would talk about the history, which I'm going to talk about how we first had the pagers, and then how we ended up going with the flip phones and the sidekick, to now that we have the iPhones and Galaxies. So this was so then the question they asked, so what ways can we communicate? So the only way that they thought of was with this pager. So the first pager was actually brought up in, it was in 1921, and they only used it for nurses. So if anybody needed to go to surgery, they would page the nurse or the doctor and everyone so they can all meet up into surgery. So technically this was only used for quick contact. And then the first major phone pager was actually invented in 1949 by Al Gross. He just wanted a simple way to like communicate, but the bad thing about this is that when you would receive the pager, it would only show you a phone number. So you didn't really know who you actually had to call. So then after that, they decided to do a two-way communication keyboard. So that was actually invented in 1973. No, in 1949, sorry about that. 1949? No, a few years after 1949, they got the two-way pager. So technically, with that, you were able to send a message along with the phone number, so you can actually know who you actually were texting. So after the payphones, after they started getting the pagers, they started realizing that society wanted more. They actually like communicating with each other. They actually like talking on the phone and interacting. So they thought that the pagers weren't the best idea. So now that I talked about the history of the pagers, I'm going to talk about the histories of the first cell phones. So the first cell phones here, so the first brick phone was invented in 1979. So it was this big thing. It was really big, and they were known as a car phone for the fact that it was so huge. It was like you couldn't put it in your pocket. It was like this big thing that you just carried around, and it was too big. So when they decided that it was too big, they ended up with this flip phone here. And technically, the only reason they wanted these phones were to communicate and talk to each other without having to have someone page you and having to run to a payphone just in order to call someone. So that's when we started getting this. And then after that, that's when we started getting the Nokias. And that's just a smaller version of the cell phone. So they just started minimizing its size. And then it started increasing the size as we got to the Razors and to the Sidekicks. So, and the main focus for cell phones were just to talk. So once we did start getting into the Razors and the Sidekicks, they started adding different features like voice notes. So somebody were to call you and you were to answer right away, you actually were able to hear what they wanted to tell you. You were able to call them back. And then with the Sidekicks, what they invented with that was a keyboard, because they found out that people didn't want to just communicate; they wanted to text without having to actually talk to the person. So now that I just talked about the first cell phones, I'm gonna start talking about what we have now in the present. So in the present, we have iPhones, Galaxies, and all these other types of phones. So, and for these phones, they were only created for talking, texting, front cameras, and social media. So according to CNN, they said that we wanted more, so they gave us more. So because of that, that's now that we do have the texting, the front cameras, and the social media, now we're allowed to interact not only with cell phones, but as well as with our cell phone with technology. It says, so not only this, but we also, according to the Art Institute, he said we kept wanting more. So since we wanted more, they gave us more. So with that, in the future, they said, also according to CNN, they said that we're going to have, instead now we have 4G internet, now we're going to have 5G internet. It's going to be way faster than what we have now. They also are going to include augmented reality, which means that if you were to go, so say you're here on campus and you were to take a picture of the food court, they'll automatically tell you everything that's around you. So you'll be able to walk to the next place. and the cell phones will keep growing in size, as well as you know how most of us have passwords, so no one would be able to see our cell phones. Well, they're gonna change that. Instead of having like pins and things like that, they're only gonna make it voice and fingerprint recognizable. So technically, you would be the only person to unlock your phone. So now that I had told you about the past, the present, and the future of the evolutions of the cell phones, it says. So now technically, so I'm gonna end the presentation by saying that society wants more, and because society keeps wanting more into technology, they're gonna keep upgrading on the cell phones.